start another class of signals and system. So let me share the screen now. Yes. So let's start with the fundamentals what we discussed earlier in the morning class, which is nothing but the classification of signals. Let me write here. At the first one, what we were going to discuss is the classification of signals there. So how we are going to classify the signals. So classification of signals is the first thing what we discussed, and what we had in the first classification, which we generally consider it to be the most fundamental type of classification here, which is nothing but the continuous time signal and the discrete time signal. So let us understand what is continuous time signal. Again, I'm repeating this concept just to ensure that you have a better understanding as we proceed ahead with respect to the numerical problems what is to be discussed. If you don't understand what is a continuous time signal, yeah, let me write it here: continuous time signal and discrete time signal. So as I told you, the time is one of the most fundamental variable which is being present there. So time being most fundamental variable, you are having it to be varied across the x-axis. What I'm writing here is a pictorial representation or a graphical representation of the time along the x-axis, considering a point to be the origin, and each and every time you are having the variation of the quantity which is to be analyzed. For example, it might be temperature, pressure, or a voltage, or a current, or whatever the physical quantity that you take in terms of a signal. If you write it, it is given as x of t. X of t, where t is the most fundamental variable, it is termed to be continuously varying with respect to time. Or what you can generally say here is you are having the value of the magnitude which is continuously changing with respect to the figure what I'm written and what I'm writing here. So now you don't have to write it on the right hand side. So what do you mean by the right hand side of a signal where t is greater than 0? The left hand side is generally represented as t less than 0. Even you are having the other value on the left hand side of the equation, you are generally writing it to be a continuous time signal because it is continuously varying with respect to the left hand side. So the right hand side will have the positive values, generally what I take here, and the left hand side will be having the negative values which is to be considered. So it is continuously varying with respect to time and varying, and the amplitude is generally each instant is having certain amplitude. So that is how you can represent the continuous time signal. So this continuous time signal x of t is the representation for a continuous time signal. So continuous time signal. So few examples what I can quote here. So what I can quote in terms of the example. So you are having any quantity which is to be represented. So continuously varying. Yeah. Yes. So this one is continuously varying like this. So you are having such quantity being represented by a signal, and this signal is continuously varying with respect to time. As I have written here, you are having the magnitude at each and every instant that is being present here. So each and every instant, if you want to calculate the magnitude, for example, so for t at 1.356 seconds, what is the magnitude? So the magnitude can be given by that time instant. Say this one is 1.356 seconds. So what is the magnitude at this point is generally called as the instantaneous value. So what I have written here is 3.56. So it is to the third decimal place here. At any instant of time, I can represent the value of the magnitude or whatever, the value of the temperature, pressure, or any other electrical parameters, mechanical parameters that are being present there in the system can be said easily or can be analyzed easily. So this is what do you mean by a continuous time signal. A continuous time signal, I repeat, it is continuously varying, or it is a time varying property. Continuous time signal is being present here. So continuous time signal, it has amplitude for each and every instant of time. Let me quote an example here, what I'm speaking right now. Let me take an example, real-time example right now. So you are having the speech or the voice that is to be representing, I mean, I'm speaking right now to you. So if I have this value of this signal to be continuously varying, so the speech signal, what I'm speaking now, is continuously varying with respect to time. Either I can increase the volume or decrease the volume depending on the speech that I'm going to give right now, or the syllabus what I'm going to cover. So this is what you can represent it in terms of a continuous time signal. Or another example would be the pressure variation, or a simple one would be a temperature variation at each and every instant of time. So depending on the temperature, whether we can say that the region is certainly hot region or a cold region that is to be present, or if I want to analyze the other one, which is nothing but the weather forecasting. Weather forecasting is a major part right now, and we can see that for the next few hours, what would be the condition of the temperature that is being present there. So these are the quite simple examples what we can understand in case of the continuous time signal. Now coming to the second one, which is the discrete time signal. Discrete time signal. So again, time is one of the most prevalent variable here, and x of n is the representation of the discrete time, n being the discrete time instants there. So let on the x-axis, I again plot with respect to small n, and x of n is the signal that is being present there. So x of n and n, these are the terms which are being present there. And next one, what you are going to understand here is you are not having any such decimal values that are being present here, but you are having the values in terms of the whole numbers generally to understand. So I am scaling down, or I am putting a value in such a way that I am having the instants such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So these are the values that are being given there for the n. This is the independent variable here. So n is said to be the independent variable. Independent variable. This is quite simple or quite clear to that of numbers which are being present there. So at 0, what you are having a value here. So at 0, somewhat you are having a value 3. At 1, let me take here, you are having a value of 2. Okay, so let me write down the x-axis, 3, 2. Yeah, sorry, this one is 1 generally, and this one is said to be 0. So at 2, you are having 1. At 3, let me mark the other way also, minus 2, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and all. So at 0, you are having 3. At 1, you are having 2. At 2, you are having 1. At 3, you are having 0, 3, 4, minus 1, minus 2, and minus 3. And again, at 7, you are having it to be 0 there. So each and every instant, you are having a value. So how you are going to write it? X of 0, that would be equal to 3. X of 1, what is x of 1? That is equal to 2. X of 2, that is equal to 1. And again, x of 3, that is equal to 0. X of 4, again, what's the value? It is minus 1. It is a negative value right now. So x of 5, that is equal to minus 2. X of 6, that is equal to minus 3. And x of 7, generally, it doesn't have any value. I have written it here as 0 there. So 0 in at instance, what you can see here at 3 and at 7, the observation what you make here in terms of the discrete time signal is said to be 0 there. So this is what do you mean by the discrete time signal at each instant only. Okay, so at that particular point you are having a value. I don't have any value that is to be present there. Now if I trace a signal like this, I might get a value. So what I'm tracing now here is, this is the signal that I'm going to get there. So if the value at 1.5 is to be specified, you are doing a calculation and you are finding out the value depending on the equation or a function that you are going to set there for this graph or the plot that I'm plotting here, or the signal that is to be represented. So if you don't have any such value which is being present there, you can call such signals that is dependent on the time is said to be the discrete time. Only occurs at discrete values. Only discrete values only occurs at the discrete values. So these are said to be the discrete time signal that is being present there. So x of n is the representation what you are going to do now. So let me quote another example. So how you can generally have x of n being the signal there, and next one what is to be analyzed. A simple example, let me quote it quickly. Yes, so if I write like this, n, this one is x of n. So at each and every instant, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you are having the values only at that point or that time. Okay, so this is what you can represent it in terms of the signal. Generally at 1, x of 1 equal to x of 2 equals x of 3 equals x of 4 equals x of 5. So that will be equal to a value called as 1. So this term is having a value x of n. So that is the signal there. The value of that signal x of 1, this is the value of the signal that is being present there, or the magnitude of the signal, value or magnitude or the indication what you give there is generally being represented as the magnitude of that signal that is to be represented, x of 1, that is equal to 1 there. So this is how you can represent a discrete time signal. So this classification of the signal where you are going to have the discrete time signal also being representing only at discrete values, only at the given values you are going to find out. So this was the discrete time signal. Now I have a continuous time signal. Let me write it down. So I have a continuous time signal, say x of t. I need to convert this to discrete time instance only at a particular interval of time. What I mean here is I am having a plot somewhat like this. Okay, so I'm having a plot of x of t and t being the variable, and I'm having a plot like this. I need to understand how do I sketch this signal in terms of the discrete activity. So I'm writing down this as the continuous time signal, and next one you are having it to be the discrete time signal there. So let me rewrite the similar manner in which I have been representing that. So this is quite similar to whatever the concepts that is being there. So if I want to write the same signal here, so I'll be discretizing it only at certain intervals. So intervals is nothing but the width between the previous one and the current one that you are going to map there, or the difference between the width is said to be equal, or it remains a constant. So that is what it is being present there. So this is what how you can generally convert the continuous time signal to the discrete time signal there by a technique called as sampling. So sampling interval. So for a given continuous time signal, you have to convert it to the sampling time signal. This is how you can call it as a discrete time signal. Okay, discrete time signal is one thing that is to be represented. So x of n is the sampled version or the sampled signal of the continuous time signal which is to be represented. So how are you going to do it? So you are having x of t as the signal and x of n as the value that is being present there. Along with that, you are going to have a sampling interval called as n into capital T. Okay, n into capital T. Let me write it again. X of t equals x n into capital T, where t is the sampling period. T is the sampling period here. So sampling period, generally it is said to be equal. What I told you right now, the width, what is being there, it is said to be almost, I mean, in the diagram, it is quite almost equal, but if you want to analyze it, it would be equal throughout the instant of time. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, only at 1 is the interval that I have taken here for your understanding. So 1, I know that it is on the left hand side. So you are going to take it on the left hand side as t less than 0 and t greater than 0. That is what you are going to represent it here. So t less than 0, t greater than 0, both are two different aspects here. So even though if you come to the left hand side, you are having -1 and -2, but the width or the difference is said to be 1 there. Okay, so this is what you can generally understand by the term called as sampling. You are sampling there. So a simple example, you are having certainly 1 kg of rice or 2 kg of rice. So only at a certain instant of the values of the thing that you are going to get there. Only at certain instants you are going to get the sampling values. So only at 100 grams, if you want to sample it, you are going to get for a 1 kg of rice, you are going to get 10 packets there. So that's what you can generally understand by the 100 gram that is being present there. This is taken as a sampling. Okay, so I'm just giving you an example here. So that's how we can sample only 100 grams of rice to be present there. So in a similar manner, the same thing can be extended to the concept of signal also. So next one, what you're going to understand is the concept of even signal and odd signal. So this is one of the important concept which is to be understood as a signals and systems as a course. If you want to understand how we are going to determine or how on what basis are you going to determine the even signal and the odd signal, that is being clearly understood here. So let me take a signal, say a continuous time signal, say x of t. X of t being the continuous time signal. Let me write it here. I'm going slow just because to make you understand. So continuous time signal. So this is the continuous time signal. So next, I'm replacing t by minus t. So x of t is the continuous time signal, replacing t by minus t. Okay, so t by minus t. So that is x of minus t. So you have a condition. For even signal. For even signal, what you can say here is for all values of t. If I use the symbol, this is for all values. For all values of t, what you can get either in the left hand side, that is for t less than 0, or for t greater than 0, or at t equals 0. So at all the values of t, when I say all the values of t, it is generally from 0. That's the first thing. And next one, for all t values, that is on the right hand side and also at the left hand side of the graph or the signal to be represented. So for all the values of t, you have x of t, okay, that is equal to x of minus t, that is to be present there. So x of t, that would be equal to x of minus t. You are having a value called as the even signal. So for example, x of 1 is there. So if you replace x of, that is 1, that is t equals 1, at t equals 1 here. So at t equals 1, if I want to write, so that is x of 1 here. So t has a value of x of 1, that is generally at t equals 1, x of 1 will have a value called as 2. Okay, now let me replace x with the t value with minus 1 there. Okay, so if x of 1 equals x of minus 1, that would be equal to 2. Then you can generally call this value of the signal that is to be present there as a even signal. I repeat, if x of t equals x of minus t, you are calling that value of the signal to be equal to an even signal. Similarly, this was for a continuous time signal. If I want to do it for a discrete time signal, again I can have the same value x of n to be equal to x of minus n. You can call this value to be equal to the discrete representation of a even signal. Discrete time signal, in the bracket, the signal nature or the property is said to be a even signal there. So we will extend the same concept when it comes to time scaling. So when it comes to time scaling, you are having the same concept to be discussed, where you will be having the reversal of signals, time changing, time shifting property. So all these things matters a lot when it comes to the discrete time signal and also the continuous time signal there. So this is a simple understanding where you will be having x of t and x of minus t, x of n and x of minus n. So if I want to generalize at the end, so you are having the value x of t to be equal to x of minus t, x of n to be equal to x of minus n. So this value is for a even signal always. So this condition holds good for all the even signals, or vice versa. If I want to say it, if I want to call this as an even signal, I'll be having to prove these two properties. Either if the given signal is in a continuous one, I will use this, or if it is in a discrete one, I will use this one, which is nothing but the n format. N is for a number which you can represent it, and t is for the time that is to be represented over the x-axis there. So this is what you can understand from the given even signal property. So once you talk about the even signal, you are having the concept called as a symmetry. Okay, so I'll be explaining it in a better manner to you with the signal being written like this. Okay, so you have a signal. In the morning class, I just told you it is a signal that is to be represented. Say, so what you will be having the time instant, say t by 2 with the negative sign, and this one is at t by 2. So why I have given it like this? Only is that this value you're going to have the zero value there. Okay, so x of minus t by 2 equals x of t by 2 equals 0. So this is the value that you are going to represent it with the given signal quantity there. So given signal x of t, you are going to have such value. So this is the magnitude. Say I'll call this magnitude as a. So from the y-axis, you have a magnitude called as a there. So the vertical length is said to be having a magnitude. So x of 0 is said to be having a there. Okay, so now I want to see to it that whether this signal, what I have written here as an example. So as an example, what I have written here. So how this signal can be considered as an even signal, or we need to prove that, or we need to show that how this signal can be used as a even signal, or it is to be considered, or it is to be classified as a even signal there. So x of 0, generally it is equal to a there. So now what I'll do here is I'll replace it. So this is it is being represented. So how we are going to guess it? So this is how we are going to guess whether the signal is a continuous time signal. So continuous time signal, it is small t here. So I'm replacing it with minus t. Okay, so replacing it with minus t. So I'm going to draw a conclusion here after I make you understand whether this is an even signal or not. So this is definitely an even signal. I'm just going to prove it right now. So x of t, it is being written. Now I have three values: x of 0, x of minus t by 2, x of t by 2, and this is equal to 0 there. So now what I'm going to do now is x of 0, it is a. Next, x of minus t by 2, it is equal to 0. X of t by 2, it is equal to 0 there. So this one is for x of t there. So this value, what I've written here, it is for x of t. Okay, so now what I'm going to do now is, so I'm going to draw x of minus t, replacing, this is what you need to write, replacing t by minus t, replacing t by minus t. So what you are going to do, if you replace 0 with minus 0, it is one and the same. X of 0 equals x of minus 0, that is going to have the same value. Okay, so let me draw the signal again. So x of minus t, x of minus t is being present there. So at 0, you are going to have a value called as a. Next, x of, yeah, so this is minus t by 2 and t by 2. So I'm going to replace minus t by 2, that is the left hand side, t less than 0, t greater than 0. This is minus t by 2. I'm going to take it as plus t by 2 here. So changing t with minus t, minus of minus, that is equal to plus, and x of t by 2 is said to be 0. So this is the value t here. This one is going to represent as t by 2, that is on the, even though you have replaced it, so x of minus t signal this is. So this is x of t signal and this one is x of minus t signal. So this is having a value called as 0. So I have got the signal to be continuously decreasing in a sloping manner. So you are having a negative slope which is to be present there. Now again, what I need to do, I need to have the t by 2 value, what is being written there. So this one is being replaced by minus t. If I put minus t, this one, if I put minus t, what I'll get? Minus t by 2. That would be equal to again 0. So on the other way, you are having minus t by 2 and this one is plus t by 2. So you are having the same signal to be representing in both the represent, you are having the same signal to be present there. So if I want to write it again, I'll be having the signal called as t and this one is the signal called as x of t and this one is called as minus t and you are having this values. So minus t by 2 plus t by 2 and this one is a, and similarly if I want to do it, I'll be having the values called as t, you are having t by 2, this one is minus t by 2 and this is having the magnitude again, it is called as a, you are having x of t. So it is said to be a even signal. Okay, so this is how you can represent, where you will be having x of t that would be equal to x of minus t. So what is the conclusion that you have drawn from this is, so the conclusion what you draw from this is, so y-axis is said to be the symmetry, y-axis is said to be, y-axis is said to be the symmetry. Okay, so in all the even signals, I repeat, in all the even signals, once you have the symmetry about the y-axis, once you have the symmetry about y-axis, you are calling it to be the even signal. Once you fold across the y-axis, if you fold the signal, that is on the right hand side and also the left hand side, if you fold the signal quite clear to this, if you fold it like this, you will be having the values to be completely overlapping with respect to each other. So values are said to be overlapping, values are said to be overlapping about the y-axis, which is called as the symmetry. So in the next video, we are going to analyze how do you analyze a odd signal. So I'll be sharing the next video soon. See to it that you would have understand what is a even signal. Okay, thank you.